Consider this your trigger warning. The following program is strictly satire and is not meant to be taken seriously. So don't get all butthurt, you liberal snowflakes, just because we skewer your sacred cows and expose all your lies and hypocrisy. Truth hurts, and so does satire. So grab a drink, pull up a chair, and enjoy the show.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Prepared Mind channel. It is the Friday free for all, and we are live for all. Not usually all, but kind of like Wednesday, Sunday, New Year's Eve. I don't think I'm going to be around, at least on my, I'll probably be on my back, not on my 2 feet. Anyways, here we are. It has been one heck of a week, despite the fact that it's the holiday season, despite the fact that we're between Christmas and New Year's, one of the most dead weeks, the most dead week for business, world affairs, etc., the entire year. This is the most boring week, the most dead week, the most nothing week, it's a nothing burger week, and we've got just tons of stuff coming up this week. So I'll tell you what, let's talk about it. We've got everyone here who wants to be here, and you're good for the weekend, and then, Monday is hangover recovery day, and then Tuesday, the world gets back to work. Now, here's the thing. The really big stuff in the world, it doesn't take the week off. Ukraine did not say, look, we're not going to send our people to get slaughtered by the Russians this week. They're like, nope, everybody, time to go get slaughtered, so get out to the front lines. The Russians didn't say, we're going to stop killing as many Ukrainians this week. Nope. They said, we're just going to keep doing what we do, period. The bankers are banking. You bet. The groomers are grooming children. You bet. The evil in the world does not take days off, even for the week of Christmas, the week leading up, the week after, etc. So let's get into it. If you've got a question, comment, thought, get it in. And once again, yes, everybody is here. Everybody is here, so you have a chance to say what you want. If you're Subscribe Star, or if you are the preparedmind.club members, you guys are the best. You can get your questions in. Ooman will grab them. We're going to go as long as we can, or until my voice gives out. We're on subscriber mode there, Ooman, already. If you want to make comments, you have to be a subscriber for at least 10 minutes. How's that for a number? Just kind of grab a number. That's what the computer is set at. We don't take trolls very lightly. Now, again, if you have something to say, super chat button down below. Let's see, we've got the CashApp, Venmo, and PayPal there, I think. Anyways, you guys support this channel. And I've spent a good deal this week digging in and investigating free speech. The government, the bureaucracy, lawmakers all hate free speech. Hate it. It's no longer just a pain in the ass. They don't like being exposed. They don't like being investigated. They don't like people sharing information about them. T-Mobile wants to start fining phones or users of phones for texting private information, their private thoughts to others. So apparently, if you're a T-Mobile customer, T-Mobile is reading your texts and deciding whether or not they're going to allow them, and deciding whether or not they think what you have to say is okay. Criticizing them or Biden or Hunter or any of these scumbags is not a crime. In fact, criticizing them is a right, and you cannot tax or fine a right. They'll make it part of their terms of service, but they can eat a bag of dicks as far as I'm concerned. Now, let's get into this. We have some ground to cover. I'm looking in the comments down here. Looks like we got a good crowd brewing. So let's do it. I want to start off with something that I thought maybe I was wrong, right? Israel and the time for diplomacy with Hezbollah is running out, possibly. the war with Israel, the war with terror, may be running out. I think I might have been wrong, folks. The Israeli war against Hamas, not against Gaza, but against Hamas, has provoked groups, terrorist groups across the Middle East, right? And they want to apply pressure on Tel Aviv and Washington to end the campaign to ethnically cleanse the strip. I'm reading you a part of a headline from an online news service that you would think is about, well, trying to be neutral and objectively reporting. Now, I'm not neutral and I am objective, though. And I've watched how all this plays out. So Gateway Pundit is pro-Israel and Zero Hedge is pro-Hamas. They say it's the war on Gaza. It's not a war on Gaza. It's a war against Hamas. They want to end the campaign to ethnically cleanse the strip. Why is it ethnic cleansing? It's terrorist cleansing. Now, they do report that the Houthis and the Blowfish are screwing around with shipping of oil and other goods and services in the Red Sea. And Iraqi and Syrians have targeted American bases well over 100 times in the past couple of weeks. And Hezbollah has traded fire, they say, with Israel. And I think that's in Syria. Now, I said, and I actually called the terror groups around the world cowards for not attacking 100% up front against Israel, for going into Gaza, right, to kill those Hamas terrorists. It's interesting. I thought, okay, they don't see it the way I see it. I guess we'll have to agree to disagree. That a lot of people around the world see what's going on with his hand here. That's odd. Anyways, am I green today? Computers. It's interesting to me. Hold on one moment. Here we are. Now my hand appears. It was automatically doing some funny shit. Now, half the world sees Israel as killing civilians and civilians only, ethnically cleansing brown people. They see them as murderous intruders. They see them in all forms negative. They stop short of calling them terrorists, right? But they do say they're committing war crimes. You cannot engage. It is war, but it's not legitimate war when you're fighting a terror organization. Right? They're not a country. Hamas is not a country. Hamas is a terror organization. So it's not really war. It's a special military operation. Now, I know we had the war on terror thanks to George W. Bush, but here we are, folks. Okay, so the one side thinks that Israel is committing ethnic cleansing against brown people in Gaza. Now, Israel has a different thing. We all know, folks, you and I all know that Hamas, the terror organization, captured hostages. They raped women openly and have admitted it, the ones that have been captured. They've killed pregnant women and babies and the unborn also. Hamas also kidnapped and murdered the elderly, as well as people in the prime of life. Well over 1,000 civilians were killed by Hamas on October 7th. And it demonstrates to me that Hamas are terrorists and they commit terrorism, war crimes, murder, rape, extortion, etc. They cannot be excused. And the mainstream media and other media sources believing their lies and repeating them around the world was a very filthy thing. Right now, on the other side, the IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, and Israel were warned that the October 7th terror act was coming. It happened. Israel is guilty for allowing it to happen and not having responded properly, or what we consider to be properly. And then the IDF warned civilians to flee Gaza and not be used as human shields, regardless of that warning and the nature of the attacks and what was going to happen. despite the facts they were given a lot of time. They didn't say you got 1 hour to get out. They gave them days or a week or so. Many civilians in Gaza have been killed by the Israelis and the IDF. These are all facts. Now, it appears that other jihad supporting nations are fighting Israel, and they're fighting the West, and the violence is going to expand. It never was, I guess, or at least it's turned out to be, not an all-out attack all at once with everything they've got to destroy Israel. But in fighting Gaza, they launched a rocket over there. Then Israel looked around to see if anyone was attacking their borders. Not so. All right. So they've been blowing the shit out of Gaza piece by piece. And now Hezbollah terrorists are beginning to attack Israel. And Israel is clamoring and begging the United States government, Joe Biden, they're begging for more weapons. Now, they won't use the word begging, but they're begging. Now, will Biden sell them for, military industrial complex profits and his 10%? Will he sell them helicopters, artillery, missiles, etc., to fight the terrorists and the holds that they have that they're surrounding them with? Are they going to fight back and affect the world's energy supply? Right? Could it have been a plan by Hezbollah and other terror groups like Al-Qaeda, countries like Turkey and Iran, to sit back and let Israel really blow the shit out of Gaza to make the world hate Israel? And then they, while Israel is short on munitions, are they going to attack more concertedly from the north, from the west, which is Gaza, from the east, which is Jordan, from the south, which is Egypt? Are they going to try fighting that way? And I'm going to ask this question. If Israel is being overrun by these radical, crazy Muslims, are they going to start using tactical nukes, long-range nukes, and intercontinental ballistic missiles with nuclear warheads to take out their enemies? Right? This is an existential threat to Israel. Like it or not, facts. Once again, I may have been wrong by calling these other guys cowards. This could have been part of their strategy to let Gaza take the bulk of the impact. Helicopters, tanks, manpower, etc. Quite a shit show on our hands, is it not? Are you ready for what 2024 is going to bring us? And oh, by the way, the pro-Palestinian, pro-Gaza, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, terror supporters in this country are shutting down airports, JFK and LAX. They're harassing politicians, Democrats and Republicans. They're harassing people at their homes by, you got it, by swatting them, calling on the phone and saying, there's terror, there's murder going on, people are being held hostage. And the cops are showing up at the homes of politicians, Democrats and Republicans, and their families. Their sons and daughters, their parents are being harassed and threatened. I think I've warned these politicians that they are not safe and that they and their families will pay for the decisions they make. In other words, there's going to be hell to pay. Wow, what a great show, guys. Everyone is here that wants to be here. If you show up late, I don't mind. If you show up late, that's okay. Let's do this. Let's do a super chat donation. I need to hear from Who's Your Life. We've got some stuff going on. So let's see it. What do we got? Mr. Uman, Jolene, the prepared mother. Here we go from Who's Your Life. He says, he did a super chat donation the other day and got screwed with by YouTube. Once again, they want to censor you. And they want to take away any ad revenue. If you see advertisements, commercials, those don't help us at all. Not as far as I know. unless they're putting money in my Social Security account, which I doubt. Anyways, Uman says, my wife has been given drugs for her stomach issue for 2 years. No help, just increasing the dosage. Got a second opinion? Now evasive surgery and 6 to 8 weeks out of work. Hopefully that takes care of the issues. Fuck Big Pharma. It's all about the dollars. It truly is all about the dollars. It is. Now, additionally, I picked up this story today, and I just read through it briefly and got sick to my stomach. Thank you again, Who's Your Life. I hope everything goes smoothly with the operation. That handles the problem. Get that second opinion when it comes to these people, folks. They just want to shove pills down your throat or put a needle in your ass. Anyways, insurance companies are backing out of covering people's gender transition surgeries. Isn't that interesting? They're like, you know what? We're getting sued left and right. Doctors that want to perform those surgeries are getting sued, so they can't get malpractice insurance, right? People can't get from the insurance companies, they can't get coverage so that they can get these procedures done. You know what? You don't get health insurance for $10,000 a year, so you can get $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 in surgeries, and then spend $100,000 on sex change drugs for the rest of your life every year. They seem to think that they can pay $1 and get $100 for it. That's not how this fucking game works, and it's interesting. All right, let's roll on. We got another super chat out there. Who wants to step up? It is Dennis Chandler with a $5 super chat donation. He says, how does the Pentagon lose trillions each year when their budget seems to be around $1 trillion? So we are told. Where does the extra money come from? Oh, man, you've tickled my smartass bone on that one. Where does the extra money come from? Well, there was this war called Afghanistan, where the American government held Afghanistan for, approximately 20 years. Joe Biden gave it back to the Taliban with many, 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 many times the amount of opium poppies planted and growing. In fact, the U.S. military, or parts of it, were in country to protect the opium poppy fields. If you think the government was going to protect something that they weren't going to profit from, then you are absolutely apeshit nuts. If you think the CIA is not selling drugs, then you are naive. Under Clinton, they were moving cocaine through Mena, Arkansas. That was started under the George H.W. Bush years as president back from 88 to 92 or 89 to 92. Government is dirty, Dennis. Government is dirty. Drugs. How about the sex trades? Prostitution. How about gambling? Now, John, are you saying that the CIA has casinos in Vegas? Is that what you're saying? Biloxi? No, I'm not. But if there are casinos around the world in emerging market economies and third world shitholes, who do you think is going to loan those people that money? The CIA. They have so many businesses, folks. So many shell corporations. And this has been discussed since the 90s, folks. The shell corporations out there that the CIA operates through, they funnel money, they send money out. They would loan a drug lord, prostitution ring owner. And pick a country. Pick any country. Rwanda. Let's just use Rwanda. They fund a local warlord who opens a casino, pushes drugs and prostitution through there. Do you think the CIA is going to do that for fun? No, they'll take their profits. They'll get paid back. Don't worry, the drug lord does very well for himself as well. But the CIA makes sure that only their drugs get sold there and that they get profits for it. And you would think, well, John, that's just a couple $1,000,000. Oh, it's much bigger than that, folks. It's billions and billions of dollars. And it's decades and decades and decades of setting up these illegal, unconstitutional, unlawful, fucking criminal mastermind institutions around the world. The war on drugs under George H.W. Bush was, in my opinion, an attempt to get rid of the cocaine cartels in Colombia. Not to kill the cocaine business, which, by the way, has made a very nice comeback the last few years. The purpose of that was to eliminate and stifle competition and for the CIA to take over and for them to traffic. And lo and behold, the CIA started trafficking drugs through Mena, Arkansas. Just about right out in the fucking open. Unbelievable. So, Dennis, when you look at where does this money come from? Drugs, human trafficking, prostitution, I'm sure gambling, and how about weapons, arms dealing? Right? The United States of America, the government rather, sent what, $160 billion in aid and weapons over to Ukraine. What were we treated to? Pictures and video of civilians in Ukraine with truckload, van load, SUV loads of weapons heading out. Now, let's just say a weapon, an M16, cost the United States government $2,000. What do you think that weapon would sell for on the black market? Try 5. I'm going to throw a number out there, 5. Right? Because it's military grade, it's military hardware. And the money that's purchasing it is drug money. Prostitution money, human trafficking money. So more of that money that is out there circulating, that the CIA put into circulation, right, comes right back to them through that. You want a rocket launcher, cost the government $10,000. Well, the arms dealers are going to sell it for 20 or 30 or 40. Armament selling. Israel wants arms from the U.S. Well, you can get those manufactured direct, right? Am I wrong? Do you think that the CIA are a bunch of good guys? There is so much dirty shit going on, folks. It's awful. Awful. Now, one of the topics I haven't bothered to look into is if cash, you heard me, if cold hard cash is made illegal, how will the CIA, Mossad, MI6, other illegal government operatives, how are they going to buy their black market goods and sell their black market goods, drugs, weapons, prostitution, etc.? How are they going to show value? How are they going to have banking if they don't have paper money to trade? So everything becomes electronic and they're going to agree to that? I think there's going to be some weird shit going on. All right. Thank you very much for that, Dennis. Now, let us move on a little bit. Speaking of illegal government operatives, speaking of them, the Biden crime saga grows. Now, over in Ukraine a few years ago, there was a whistleblower, and he's also an elected politician. He, folks, is back, and he is ready to reveal to the world the Hunter Biden Burisma corruption story. Folks, he's going to reveal bombshell details from his Biden crime family investigation that involves Hunter, the big guy, and probably, I don't know, Mittens Romney, Piglosi, Clintonos. I sure hope so. I guess we'll have to wait and see. So when I heard about this guy is coming out and he's going public again with more information. I'm going to ask you, are you ready for a new false flag diversion or an overt attack or war? Or is this release of more information about the untouchable Bidens, is that in and of itself the diversion to keep us looking at something different all the time? Is it just one more thing, Mr. Uman? Always giving us something new to think about and talk about every 72 hours, every 3 days? It very well may be. It could be, folks. I just don't know. These people are dirty, though. Okay, let's move on if we shall. If you got something you want to talk about on this Friday free-for-all, we've got, 170 people on live. Okay, Jolene, thank you. This is a good one. Oh, Bug Out Bushido. Hey, Bug Out checks in. What's up, brother? Happy New Year. He says it would be more beneficial to barter illegal stuff if cash was outlawed. Works for them, not against. That is an interesting point. I'm glad you are on it, man. I want to investigate this some more. Barter is an interesting concept, right? It's very old school. I've got a loaf of bread. You've got a gallon of milk. Which one's worth more? How do we trade, right? Let's say that bread is worth twice the milk. You break the bread in half, right? You're bartering. Is there an understood value, right? Will there be books? M16 is 5,000 units. Magazine full of ammo is 100 units. Let's see, a pack of 5 hand-rolled Bob Marley joints, that's worth 250 units. And so you can take everything something has, right? And you can add up all the units of value. And then you can say, well, what do you want for this? You've got 12,000 units of value. And they say, well, I want a hooker for 2 days and a Colt pistol and a turkey dinner. And they go, okay, well, that's 10,000 units. So we owe you 2,000 units. And they, are they going to develop a barter banking system? It's possible, right? For example, let's say we had SHTF in this country. Things went very bad for a long time. And there's a store that manages to get stuff, local farmers, eggs, bacon, milk, meat. They got some food, right? And so for doing my part of killing communists and terrorists in the neighborhood has awarded me 3 silver ounces, 3 1-ounce coins. One moment. So I take these 3 1-ounce coins, Bug Out, and I go down to the farm country store. And he says, okay, what you want is going to cost 2 1/4 ounces. So I owe you 3/4 of an ounce of silver, or I can keep credit. And that's, folks, the old system of credit. Okay, you got 3/4 of an ounce. I'll keep that in mind. Anytime you need more stuff, come on down. You have credit with me, right? Credit. That's positive credit there. And you could say, well, shit, I owe you a 1/2 ounce. He's like, John, I know you're good for it. You're going to kill more communists and terrorists in the next few weeks and get paid again. Your credit is good here, buddy. So that, I think, is the barter system. And it'll take a while to set up, to assign value to items. Hell, if everyone has silver and no one has food, well, you got an inflation problem trying to get food, don't you? If nobody has guns, but you do, and everyone has silver but no guns, well, looks like you're going to be very valuable to them. Just an example of how things work, right? If there's a lot of a substance in an area, value goes down, right? It's supply of the law of supply and demand. Anyways, good stuff. Thank you, Bug Out. Yeah, it could end up working against them, the bankers, to screw with us. I guess we're going to find out. Okay, what do we have going on? I think we got a super chat out there. Hey, it's Chris up in Canada with a $20 super chat donation. And he says, what do you think about Vivek Ramaswamy? Also, my dad, Bill, loves your show. Well, hey, Bill. Hey, Chris. Happy New Year. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. Vivek Ramaswamy. He's an interesting cat. He was kind of, I make fun of his name because it's a rough name, man, Ramaswamy. But seriously, he's a smart guy. He was part of the World Economic Forum, insider, political inside, good guy, up and coming sellout crowd, but he claims to have left it. He's continuing to campaign to run as president of the United States for the GOP, the Republican Party. And he's done a great job of attacking the other Republican candidates. He's done a great job of attacking the other Republican candidates. He's outed Nikki Haley. He's good. He's sharp. He's smart. He's well spoken. Oh, he's a clean, articulate dude. I know he would love to be. I don't think he's ever run seriously thinking the American people are ready for another foreign sounding name to fuck their country up. So it's been my opinion that he's probably running for a more moderate voter to vote for as the VP under Trump. That's my guess, that he's trying to fill that position. I don't think America is ready for a Vivek Ramaswamy. He just seems to be, to me, what do I think about him? He's a little too polished. He seems to me a little too willing to sell out. There's something about him that I don't like. He's kind of slimy in a way. But all politicians, to me, are slimy, right? Unless I know a lawyer, an attorney is a good guy, which means I personally know him, I think they're a bunch of fucking sellouts, a bunch of lying snakes who will fuck anyone for a buck, right? So you can tell I'm not real big on politicians. I've got my issues with all of them. It doesn't matter whether we're talking about Gavin Newsom, extreme satanic scum, evil piece of shit, lying sack of crap, or if I'm talking about Governor Abbott of Texas or Governor DeSantis of Florida. I think they do a good job. Nobody's perfect. I wish I really knew what was in their hearts. But you look at their track record, those two guys, and say, have they done a pretty damn good job? All things considered. The answer is yeah, so it's hard. Vivek, I don't want to see him as president of the United States. I don't trust the guy. But I don't trust any of these fucking people. Trump, I could trust Trump if Trump hadn't have failed us so badly his first term. And I understand why he failed us. He also seems to have sold America out during the COVID crap. He got screwed with during the 2020 peaceful protests where they politely and nicely burned, murdered, attacked, right? I really believe that the president should have used federal power. Because at that point, you're not dealing, folks, with civilians. It wouldn't have been civilian engagement by the military, be it the National Guard. And I know this is a touchy subject, but let me put it out there. If the military, the National Guard, had shown up with armed weapons to face BLM, the moment BLM throws a rock, a Molotov cocktail, an exploding grenade, they open fire on them, they would have engaged them as terrorists, not civilians. There's quite a difference, folks. Now, you might say, but John, they are civilians. They're just committing crime, so arrest them. That would have been nice too. Okay, you don't want me shooting them? Then let's just arrest them. Now you've got what? A prosecutor, a jailing system, a court system that are just going to let them go because that's what they did with those that they did arrest. It's a mess, man. There's no easy answer to any of this. And that's what I think I wanted to bring up here, Chris, in carrying this through. You're asking about Vivek Ramaswamy, and I'm talking about who is there, if it's not him, that could fill the bill and do a good job. Well, Trump was there, and what happened? He was not able to get past the deep state or the swamp, if you will. They razzle-dazzled and bullshitted him. They sure did. Anyways, great topic. We're going to see how this year shakes out. Hey, you guys want to just remember this, please. Understand. The Democrats will kill you and me the moment they get a chance. The moment they can justify it. Period. 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 Remember Hillary Clinton? You deplorable fucks out there, all of us. She wants us in re-education camps. You got to get your mind right. Oh, they're not re-education camps, folks. They're death camps. They're Hitler, Nazi-style concentration camps. They want to open fire and annihilate us. And they just need the excuse. That's why they always sit around with bated breath when they see a mass shooter, or they think, the right is going to wake up and join them in the streets for a fight. The movie Civil War coming out. Check out the trailer. All righty, let's get forward. Who else have we got out there? Who's got something to say? And it is Lance Corporal Veteran. Hey, we got an E3 on the horn here with a $5 super chat donation. And he says, start parallel economies better to practice the future you want to build. Now, this would be a proactive endorsement and recommendation. Start creating get this, a barter culture now. Start creating the value. What does, 100 rounds of ammo, what is that worth? What is a watermelon worth? What is a dozen eggs worth? What is a pound of meat worth? What is a crate of apples worth? Right? What's it worth? You've got to start somewhere. And yeah, there needs to be a valuation system. If you do it now, you don't have to worry about it when they take all the money away, when we have a banking collapse. That's what being a prepper is about, by the way, right? And I'll get back to you, Lance Corporal. You stay right there, man. So, right, food. Have that so you can survive months and months and months of bullshit and aggravation while the world sorts itself out. Water. You got to have water. Water. Clean, safe water, or you're going to lay there in agonizing pain with Giardia or E. coli, right? Shelter, clothing, food, medicine, means of self-defense, all those things you need while this gets set up. Now, here's the problem. If you got a Walmart in your town, there's going to be no way that they're going to engage in barter. It's just not going to happen. CVS Pharmacy, not going to happen. Your Piggly Wiggly, Kroger, Publix, Safeway, Albertsons, not going to happen. They're not going to trade. It's going to have to be local people, local traders, local barterers. You're going to have to set up these networks. But that would be your SHTF economy. It may be a good idea to start, number one, find out who has food. Right? Who has food, meat, eggs, fresh produce? Who has medicine, or who is a doctor that will look into and do barter, creating a parallel economy? Great recommendation. Thank you, Lance Corporal. Okay. And Jolene says, and it's more of this, it's the same idea continuing from Lance Corporal Veteran. He says, create local systems and institutions to aid in practicing self-governance so you can defend yourselves from federal intrusion. And how about foreign intrusion? We now have foreign forces in this country. Let's assume that only 10% of the illegals that have poured across the border, let's just assume that only 10% of the 10 million people that have illegally clamored into this country, only 10%, 1 in 10, is a terrorist, a drug cartel member, a criminal. Let's just pretend that. That's 1 million people here, unknown, untraceable, unvetted, and capable of organizing themselves. Now, I know this is going to sound a little nasty, but in the world of construction, a lot of those people that work in construction are legally here from south of the border. Not just Mexico, but the Caribbean islands, Central America, South America. And they work hard. They work well. They earn their money. They need to learn better fucking English, but beyond that, they do a good job. Now, they work not like you and I, where they go and they call a contractor on the phone and say, hey, I do framing, or I do roofing, or I do concrete. Can you hire me? They have their networks. Right? The Guatemalans work with the Guatemalans. The Hondurans work with the Hondurans. The Mexicans hire only Mexicans in their crews. The Portuguese, they're here too, folks. The Russians, the Ukrainians, they're here. And they stay and work amongst themselves. So these criminals, these violent terrorists that come across the border, they do the same thing. They go and find their people, and they'll round them up, and they'll say, guess what? We know who you are. We know who your families are back home, down in Honduras, down in Panama. And you will join and do what we're doing and do what we say, or your family down there, Papa and Mamacita, right? We'll take them out. So yeah, federal intrusion. How about federal conscripts, Lance Corporal? That's right. Governments rarely allow other military institutions or paramilitary institutions or terror organizations into their country and let them exist unless they know they can be utilized for government's benefit. You bet, folks. What am I saying? That Joe Biden would use foreigners to fight us Americans and destroy our liberties and steal from us and murder us? Yeah, the same way King George did, by using Native Americans, by using Hessians or Germans, other Europeans that he imported over to the American colonies to fight us. What's funny is the French and Native Americans and Germans and Scots and Irish all fought back. It's a crazy world. Crazy world. I'm wondering who could be next. Is it who's next? It is Remy Marsh. Haven't heard from you in a while, man. From the Netherlands, it is Remy Marsh with a 22 euro super chat donation. Wow, Remy, it's been a long time since we've heard from you here. I appreciate the support from the Netherlands. And how is Geert Wilders doing, my friend? I hope he is building a huge coalition under him, behind him, that is going to go out in front of him and bring freedom and decency and respect back to the Netherlands. Good God, what a story that has been. I don't talk about Garrett and what's going on enough, but they tried killing farming. They're trying to kill the Netherlands. So, Remy, I appreciate the support. What questions, what information can you bring to us on the Prepared Mind channel from over in Europe? This is, folks, as I've said for years and years, a truly international channel. We've got Remy in the Netherlands. We've had people from Russia. Oh, yeah. We've gotten some Kroners in the past, of course, Canadians and Australians, English and the Irish. And Remy says, I fear not much will change. That is the fear, my friend. I fear not much will change. Meaning the European Union and the European Central Bank are very powerful. And it has been decades and decades now that they've been importing scum, third world trash, anti-Nederland people. They brought them in and they've imported non-European culture into the Netherlands. Not just non-Netherlands, but non-European, they refuse to speak the language of the land. They refuse to learn the laws of the land. They refuse to accept the culture, right? They can have their religion, fine, but, that's what I feel is, yeah, you should be able to have your religion, but with that religion comes a lot of baggage. And I'm talking about the jihadi religion, right? The religion of peace, not very peaceful, is it? Let me put it to you this way, folks. The religion of peace. We have three major religions I want to talk about. We have the Jews and Judaism. We have the Muslims and Mohammedanism, and we have Christianity, both Catholicism and Protestantism. And I can't say that the Christian religions have been particularly nice, can we? They have fought amongst themselves over Europe. But for World War I, and it was a much larger segment, that was a Muslim war. And they engaged in war with the Christians, trying to gain territory. Somewhat more also in World War II. But the Muslims have fought each other, and they've fought us all through history from the time they became a powerful organization. And at one point, they were high up in math, philosophy, the arts, etc. I'm talking about Islam. But they had expansionism on their minds. When Europe was attacked through Portugal and Spain, and they tried invading, and then they tried coming through Turkey and into Eastern Central Europe under Suleiman, and then there were the Crusades. It's a mess, folks. It truly is a mess. And the more modern wars have been secular wars, right? It used to be about religion, Catholicism, Protestantism, fighting itself and fighting others. And the Muslims fought each other and fought others. But now it's more secular. But they're bringing back the religious angle of war, I got to tell you. They're bringing it back, right? It is now going to be, and has been, jihad versus secular governments. But I think it's going to flip. I think it's going to flip, folks, because our secular governments have failed us due to their evil, corruption, their willingness to be bought off. I think that the people are going to have to start fighting back the same way they're being fought. They're going to be attacked, and they're going to attack based on how you look, where you live, what you believe, what your religious practice is, and even your skin color. Yep, I hate to say it like that, but I think that's going to happen. It's going to be race-based. So I pray, man, I pray to all of you that I sure hope you've got your stuff together. And that regardless of color, or shall I say, regionalist indicators, are you in the South, the North, the East, the West, the Upper Midwest, whatever it is, you find good people to surround yourself with and make sure they know who you are and you know who they are. It takes me about 5 seconds to convince people who and what the fuck I am. Right? It doesn't take long. You meet U-Man, you know who he is. You meet Big Frank, you know who he is. Right? That's how it works. That's how it works. Right? So get prepared. All right. Now, speaking of who you are and what group you belong to, I got to say this. Diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, looks like it's going to DIA because large corporations are announcing cuts to their diversity budgets. And I have an opinion on that. Well, remember, we're coming up on an hour here. I'll stay here as long as you guys are doing super chats and you want to keep talking. It is the Free for All Friday. It's your chance to keep talking and get the world out your message. And your message is going to wake people up and help them get prepared. Now, so is diversity, equity, and inclusion going to go away? Well, I think it's going to be slowly defunded. But like human resources, a ridiculous, stupid department, I think it, like affirmative action, is now going to be kind of a permanent item that we're going to have to deal with in companies. right? It's not going to be the thing that everyone looks to and, oh, wow, human resources, you guys are great. You're making sure you punish white men, right? And make sure that all the feminists in the company feel safe. I think that DEI is going to continue to be a permanent but much smaller piece until they are weeded out of the system. But it's always going to be there, I think, in the large corporations. It's going to be, well, how many gays do you got on your team? Oh, yeah, we got 5% more than you. You better step up your game there. You need more fruitcakes. Yeah, just make sure you check out and see how many of them have criminal records. All right. Wow, man. It's incredible to see. I think that the homo groups, that's right, the LGB types, they were used politically to destroy America. I don't think, folks, that they're going to be a permanent part of the new system, the Great Reset, New World Order system, that is. Now, the other day we talked about an emotionally disturbed man. No. He was a raging racist, not emotionally disturbed. Gotta love how the mainstream media attaches sympathetic labels to these fuckheads. Remember the guy who said, quote, "I want all white people dead." Then he stabbed 2 foreign tourists. Didn't kill them, luckily. 2 teens he slashed up and stabbed. Now, I read the follow-up story on this, and they're like, neither of them sustained life-threatening injuries. One of them had their left rib, they had one of their lungs punctured. They got stabbed through the ribs in the back and punctured a fucking lung. How is that not life-threatening? Well, John, by the beauty and wonder of modern medicine, it's not a death. No, it's not a death sentence. But holy fuck, you got a knife plunged through your back into your lung? That is life-threatening. It was attempted murder. Anyways, this fucking clown is locked up in Rikers Island. And guess what he's done? He fucking beat the shit out of and cut up an inmate. Now, right? Rikers Island, the staff there, they come out and they say, get this, folks. This is how insane government is. This is how ridiculous they are. They go, this emotionally disturbed man, no, he's a racist. And they're considering that, well, because he went after white people and he said he was going to kill all white people, that maybe that's a hate crime. I couldn't give a fuck. The guy's nasty. He stabs and cuts up with a ceramic knife an inmate at Rikers Island. So Rikers Island says this: the man will now be kept away from certain inmates. That's what the Department of Corrections stated. What does certain mean? We know he hates white people, so how about you put that out there? Now, what's terrible is all the decent fucking black people, all the decent brown people, all the decent white people, all the decent Asian people, right? We don't know who the bad guys are. Right. But it's easy to see now that, yeah, racism's a problem. Yes, there are white racists, and yes, there are black racists, and everyone else. Know the people around you. I don't give anyone a fucking break, folks. I don't care what color they are. You have to look a certain way, walk a certain way, dress a certain way, and talk a certain way for me not to be on high fucking alert around you. You can't look like a piece of shit and walk right up to me without me being on full alert and ready to tear your head off. Now, I believe this is all the government's fault. The race war, racism, and hatred of white people, it needs to be addressed by government and stopped. Or it is going to get addressed on the streets. And this is what we're seeing, right? And I believe that Democrats and these deep state scum want civil partisan conflict. And they're going to keep pushing this racism out into the public based on their nonsensical belief systems and propaganda. Are you prepared for it to get worse? It's just one more thing, folks. It's just one more thing. And because I like humor, I got to share this one with you. Remember, this is Friday Free for All. Everyone's here. Super chat donations down below or over here. No, over here. If you've got something you want to say. Now, lighten the mood a little bit, step away from that cold, hard fucking racism. Wow. Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana. He's been quite a satirist, quite a comedian in the Senate. That's right, the Senate, that august body of people. He said in Louisiana, this is his quote, "In Louisiana, Joe Biden is about as popular as herpes," end quote. And I thought, what did he say? He's about as popular as herpes. Folks, there's a big problem going on in politics. And it's not, I don't think we're calling Joe Biden out enough. I think we need more Senator Kennedys out there pointing out that Joe Biden is about as popular as herpes. He is losing. Even other Democrat candidates for president are saying Trump is going to win. I do not believe that Trump is going to win. I believe that Trump is the most popular president, and I believe that Trump will be the most, he will get the most votes in just about every jurisdiction. But there's a good chance he can lose, just like he did in 2020, because of massive fraud, cheating, lying, stealing, and everything else that government is so good at. So good at. Just awful. Okay. Let's do this, folks. The war in Ukraine, it is winding down. It's winding down. I got some more information on that. I'll share if we roll in that direction more. But this thing about saying it like it is and standing up and being principled. I've mentioned this fella many times. His name is Viktor Orban, and he's the prime minister in Hungary. And he has fought the globalists in the European Union regarding allowing immigrants into his country and fighting socialism and communism and keeping it out. He's been quite a fighter. So what's going on here? Well, they are preparing for a bilateral meeting between Hungary, Viktor Orban, and Ukraine. That's right, Volodymyr Zelensky himself, the mighty midget, the skinny jeans wearing, tight in the crotch, yard gnome. He wants to meet, I guess, Viktor Orban, because Viktor is standing in his way to being accepted as a European Union member. What does Zelensky and Ukraine have to offer Europe? Why would they let in a country that is the single most corrupt country on the planet? Wow. Now, they want to put them together. The European Union, the United States, they're hoping that Zelensky can persuade Viktor Orban to change his mind about him, Ukraine, their chances of beating the Russians. They're hoping to do that. Well, I would think that Viktor Orban would be very pleased at this opportunity. Very pleased at the opportunity to meet the mighty midget himself. He should be excited to put the LGB leprechaun right in his place over his war losses, over the Russian genocide committed by his military. He should be ashamed of his Nazi brigade, and Viktor Orban should remind him of those things, as well as the little bastard's entitled attitude and threatening the United States and Europe and the whole world that Russians will invade every country. And that in those countries, their uncles and their sons and daughters will have to fight the war against the Russians unless you give him, Zelensky, more money. Now, I scoured the internet looking for information. What do people around the world think of this little Zelensky guy? Folks, they don't like him or the war. When I read comments from people, now, people don't like Russia either. They don't like the Russians. I get it. They don't trust this guy. They don't like this guy. Things are hard everywhere else, and we're just supposed to give in to him. It's obvious that he is taking money and weapons, and they're selling them, and they're enriching themselves. That was the prevailing belief system that I saw. That they know that money is being sent over and into Ukraine. It's laundered, it's cleaned up, and it's sent back to politicians in Washington, D.C. and other countries. To pay off the politicians for their support. In other words, it's a money hustle. It's a sham. Now, let's continue. We're at 1 hour. If you've got something you want to talk about, super chat donation, you let me know. And I'm going to finish up with this. And then whatever you guys have left you want to talk about. It is Free for All Friday. We're all here. I will not be doing Sunday Night Live. It is New Year's Eve. So I'll be spending time with family, getting some messes cleaned up there. So here we are, folks, in Turkey, the country that is both a NATO member, and it makes me sick to say it, as well as a Russian collaborator. They have American military equipment. They have Russian military equipment. They are supposedly allies with NATO, Europe, yet they're a Muslim country. They are famous for smuggling gold, drugs, and of course, women. There's your three big ones, right? There's your three big ones: money laundering, prostitution, human trafficking, and drugs and weapons. Nice. Thanks, Turks. Anyways, I don't have a lot of respect for them, folks. Never have. Never have. But get this. Right? An award-winning mainstream Turkish reporter. I'm going to try and say her name because I think she's earned a little bit of street cred with us. Meltem Güney. Okay, she got fired. She got shit canned. She is a television news studio reporter, right? She sits behind the big desk. She's got the little stack of papers, some kind of business suit on, green screen behind her. She showed up and goes on the air with a pro-Israel, with a Starbucks cup. Now, the media is saying it was pro-Israel. I tried blowing the screen up to look at the cup to see if it had a Star of David or something, but perhaps Starbucks Corporation is pro-Israel. In any event, she had the cup on the desk next to her stack of papers, right in view of the camera. I thought, the balls of this woman, who I wonder, she's not a woman if she has balls. In America, they'll argue a little differently. In America, they'll argue a little differently. I thought it was pretty fucking funny. She got fired because she had something that is perceived and believed in Turkey and the Muslim world to be a pro-Israel symbol. I think it's pretty funny having a corporate logoed cup on the TV desk that goes out to the entire nation. Right? That'd be like, Ted Koppel wearing a Mobil Exxon coat as he reported on the war in the Middle East. It would be like, are we getting Mobil Exxon's version of events here? And I really think that should be the way it is. I think politicians should have to wear suits like NASA race car drivers, so we can see who owns them. Anyways, they fire her. But what about the director? Did he not see or notice the cup? Did he allow it? How about the producer? News is produced, folks. There's people all over the studio, not just a cameraman. What about the set manager? He's got to check everything out and do this. Okay, yeah, it's looking good. Fucking Starbucks, right? Unbelievable. Pretty damn funny. But she's going to have some trouble. having a pro-Israel symbol, drinking Starbucks coffee. In fact, why is Starbucks even allowed in Turkey? It's going to get nasty, folks. It's going to get nasty. And I can't not talk about this real quick. Ultimate Fighter Championship Series, a UFC star of not mainstream, mixed martial arts. He is saying he's speaking out publicly to the media. He worries that the 2024 election won't happen. And he says this quote, "Which string are they going to pull next?" Folks, fighters see the fight that is coming. They understand the build-up process, people opposing each other, and they know that things can get bad. They see violence, folks, differently than most people because, well, that's what they do and it's who they are. I think that's why the federal government does not like veterans out here in public, because we see the fight coming. Can you see it? Chance favors the prepared mind. God bless you all. I love you all. Semper Fi. Happy New Year. When I'm back next, well, unless something crazy happens and I come on live this weekend, and that's possible. It's possible. Otherwise, I'll see you in 2024, and I'm sure, folks, it's going to be a big kickoff. We've got way too much shit in the wind, right? So, chance favors the prepared mind is yours. Bug out, have a great dinner. Ooman, have a great dinner. And Jolene, to you, thank you as well. Have a great, great, great New Year.